Go ahead.
Hey guys, this is the May podcast. Sorry for the delay, slight hiatus. A lot has transpired since the last episode. We have Malcolm here residing in Hammond, and then you got AY residing in Indy. So
Yes, sir.
this is the first episode that we're doing with a separate location, so it's going to be kind of weird, but we're going to figure out the kinks in the next couple weeks. Whatever, we're going to figure out how we're going to get the technology and how it's just we're not in the same setting anymore, same place anymore. But we're going to figure out. There will still be a few in-person episodes that'll take place. I still plan on coming out there. Maybe AY will come out here one time for an episode. But this is what we're going to do right now, and hopefully you guys still enjoy it. But yeah, first topic that we're going to get into, obviously, as I mentioned, and as we've mentioned, we both went to Wabash College, and we both just graduated 11 days ago.
It'll be what, basically 2 weeks this Saturday?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Practically 2 weeks ago. I had the privilege of delivering the commencement speech. That was a pretty dope experience. It was hot as hell on the stage, but that's
bro. It was hot that whole day.
Yeah.
In the field, I felt decent, but
right. No, on the stage it was really, really toasty. But yeah, the occasion was such a momentous occasion, and just seeing all of my friends and people like my brothers, whatever, walk the stage was such a grand experience. I'll always cherish it. Now, granted, I wish we would have had better plans afterward came about, or whatever unfortunate situations came about. We don't have to really get into that, but I think the stuff that we've semestered over the years kind of makes up for us not really doing anything too grand of the night of graduation. I mean, y'all had too much fun the night before. Oh my gosh, I had too much fun. I'm surprised y'all even was able to make it to the stage.
The thing is, Malcolm, I woke up, I was fine. I wasn't hungover. I didn't feel sick, nothing. I was great because it's weird because while we were drinking, you know how the niggas always have some type of fruit or something to get the taste of the alcohol out their mouth. Well, I was using my water and that Gatorade powder. So literally before I went to bed, I went pee and my pee was clear. I'm like, how the hell am I drunk and still hydrated? I don't think that's ever happened to me. You never think of somebody being drunk and being hydrated because usually when you're drunk, you're dehydrated. But I was hydrated and I was starting to get tired, so I went to bed. Hey, man, I woke up feeling great. I was like, dang, I don't have no hangover. I don't really feel tired. I'm like, I feel great. I feel fine. Oh, my God. That's because they took let's see, you stopped at what, 3?
Yeah, I stopped at 3.
I think I stopped at damn near 10. It was between 8 to 10.
It was.
And they had 15. They had 15, between 15 and 20. So they were.
Mile was out of there. Say was out of there.
Oh my God! I'm like, damn.
Yeah. And y'all went to sleep very, very. Y'all went to sleep very, very late. I went to sleep at 2. I said, all right.
I think I went to bed at no. You were in bed at 1:30. I think I went to bed an hour after you went to bed. I didn't stay up too much later.
No, I think I literally went to bed I seen the clock. It was
you went to bed at 2. Yeah. No, because I went to bed around 3:30. Yeah. Yeah, I went to bed an hour after you.
I played a mod in Mortal Kombat, and I was like, I can say it's over. I'm about to go to sleep, whatever. But yeah, no, graduation all in all was a great experience. Now we're kind of moving on to our post grad lives. You know what I'm saying? I started work. I was supposed to start work this week, but a lot of complications happened. But I start work in the next couple weeks, and I'll be working close to home, and I plan on moving in the next year or so. So there's that. AY is still on the search, but I feel like AY is gonna learn something big soon.
I'll find something eventually. I'm confident I'll find something. I just, I was mad because I got put on hold, but the lady gave me the wrong instructions. She told me that she literally sent me an email in the subject of the email said to call these numbers, and then I emailed her and I was like, well, I don't know if I'm doing this right. She said I want you to call me personally and to call her at 3:30, but she sent that email to me on Monday and I missed that email and I'm like, damn. So I feel like that opportunity might be gone because I've emailed her twice since she sent me that email and she hasn't emailed me back. So that opportunity might be gone. But I mean, I'm not too sad about it because at the end of the day, it was just a summer internship opportunity. But I mean that still could have been big to get my foot in the door. But this is still other people I have to meet with. Still waiting to hear back from IU Health. It's just I have other situations that I feel like could definitely go through, but we'll see.
Yeah. Now for me, I'm just ready to work. I'm just ready to work, save up, and move. Really, I want to change the scenery. Really, really soon. But it's neither here or there. All right. Next topic. Let's talk a little bit about some basketball, shall we? We kind of talked a little bit about this off air. But I'm a kind of segue into a question I have for AY. My question to AY, he's going to refer back to the same question to me. What has been like your biggest surprise? Like obviously the playoffs just started, but in the couple of games we've seen, what has been the biggest surprise in this year's playoffs?
I got two. I have the Grizzlies beating the Warriors in the play, and I thought the Warriors were gonna at least be the 8th seed. I saw the Warriors make it to the playoffs, and then the Clippers going down 0-2 to the Mavs. I feel like that's real shocking because we expect the Clippers to damn near really be in the Western Conference Finals with the Lakers, and I feel like I don't know if this is true. This is really just speculation, but in my opinion, I feel like they went on a nice little losing streak towards the end of the season so that they could avoid playing the Lakers until the Western Conference.
Mm-hmm.
But they're down 0-2, so now it's like, wow. I feel like Luka might just have that team's number.
Yeah, but the thing about that is that like it's crazy that you say he has their number and yet they lost like 4-2 last year. So it's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy because it's like we may be seeing like another like inner battle playoff rivalry because before it was the Warriors and Rockets, right? And then before that it was like maybe the Warriors and Clippers or like the Clippers and Grizzlies and stuff like that.
Thunder. I think some other two you can mention the Thunder and the Spurs, and then the Lakers and the Spurs too.
Yeah. So I feel like now it's going to be like the Clippers and Mavericks as their like new like playoff rivalry type thing, which is kind of cool to see. I still think it's kind of weird. Because like I said earlier when we started doing the podcast, that I had the Clippers making it off the West. And the way they're playing is really, really making me like very, very.
I don't trust.
I wouldn't say discouraged. Yeah, but like kind of hesitant now because it's like they're playing really like out of sync, and like they're literally not the team I've seen them as like a month prior to the playoffs. They were clicking all cylinders, and now, well, one it has to do with like the strategy. I mean, I'm not gonna put all the blame on Tyronn Lue or whatever. Just because, like, they put blame on Doc Rivers as to why they didn't win last year. So the whole coaching thing or whatever shouldn't be an excuse this year. Granted, Tyronn Lue may not be making the best defensive schemes for Luka, but at the same time, it's like they came into this year knowing that there was expectation on the players to up their level, right? Because you already used the coaching thing as a cop out last year. So this year you can't do that.
I didn't agree with that. Like Paul George is talking about how he's using me as a shooter. I'm not really a shooter. I'm like, bro, Paul George. You have one of the highest percentages of active players in catch and shoot three. So it's like you can definitely play a catch and shoot game. I feel like he was just trying to. Like when I heard Paul George try to blame Doc Rivers, I'm like, he's just really trying to scapegoat him
what Doc Rivers is doing now.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, at the end of the day, what really happened is Kawhi showed up, but not. I feel like he didn't show up consistently enough. And Paul George was just a no-so. Paul George might have showed up for like one game, one or two games during the whole playoffs, but he wasn't there, and he hasn't been there for the playoffs for years. Paul George, in my opinion, Paul George hasn't really been the same since he broke his leg. Which, I mean, that's a fair statement, but at the same time, it's like I feel like he's become a better player since he's broke his leg. Like I feel like this Paul George is definitely better than Paul George that was on the Pacers. It's just that,
but it
hasn't transformed. Yeah, it hasn't. Yeah, it hasn't translated to the playoffs. Like Paul George, when the Pacers and the Heat were going at it, like he was always consistently scoring at least 20, and those were real nice battles. But now he just disappears, man. Like he's just not there. I remember when he was on the Thunder, he was talking about y'all haven't met playoff P yet. And I remember that first game, he dropped like what? I think it was like 39, 40. I'd have to look back again. But I was like, ooh, this is playoff P, man. I'm going to love this because I was still a Thunder fan at the time since Russ was there and shit. Mm-hmm. Man, he didn't show up for the rest of that series, bro. The rest of that series. I'm like, bro. And he has good games in the playoffs, but they're few and far between. And that's what really, I feel like that's what hurts the Clippers, and that's what really hurt them last year is that your second best option just was not showing. Whereas, like, especially with the Nuggets, you had Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic really just playing two ball and just destroying whoever that you were putting on either one of them that were just getting torched that whole series.
Yeah,
Clippers.
I agree. I think I think that the biggest surprise to me, as you mentioned, was also the Clippers and also the Warriors too. And it's kind of sad because like the Grizzlies just beat the Jazz in the first game, and like maybe the Grizzlies may be more of a, well, I don't know, like the Grizzlies may somewhat of like a well-rounded team, but I still feel like if the Warriors were going against Utah Jazz in the first round, the Warriors would have really had a shot. Because the Utah Jazz don't like, I'm not scared of them. Like they're probably, like, I know they're a number one seed, but like for some reason, like to me, they're not that major marquee playoff contender or like that NBA Finals contender, if that makes sense. Just because, like, I don't know, like they still don't. I don't know. I'll have to see it first, if that makes sense. And I know they kind of been showing it in like their number one seed or whatever, but like I honestly think that the Suns are a better team than they are.
I don't know, man. I feel like part of the reason why the Clippers won that series against the Mavs last year was definitely because Porzingis was hurt. And now that Porzingis is healthy, and not only is he healthy, but he's been playing pretty well the last two games in the playoffs. I feel like they could really beat the Clippers. I feel like they could. What's next, sir?
It's the Cole album. So as you guys know, we're both really, really huge Cole fans. I want to say this will make the this Friday will make 2 weeks since the album has been released. It actually feels like a while since the album has been released, just because of how many times I've listened to the album, and just because how many videos and how much the internet has been going crazy over the album and stuff. Like it feels like much longer than it's been out. So I just wanted to kick it off with you and say, how did you feel about the album? What are your favorite tracks? And what was your biggest takeaway from the project?
One, that J. Cole is tired of everybody saying, that he can't necessarily rap like the Drakes and the Kendricks, and how he feels like he might have been kind of getting a little disrespected, because this album isn't like something where it's like, he's trying to tell stories. It's not why can't I think of it?
It's not introspective.
Conception. It's not a conception album. There it is. But he's not introspective, right? He's just, this album was literally just for him to rap and show off his rapping skills. Oh no, Cole will always have at least one introspective song, no matter what the project is, I feel like. But he was definitely like, this album was just for him to just rap. Like he just wanted to rap and show everybody that, y'all might be talking all this shit about me, but I can still rap. I can still do this. I'm still a top tier rapper when it comes to this. And so I really enjoy it. I was talking to my friend and he said he didn't like it, but he didn't like it because he was like, he was trying to compare it to Kendrick and how like everybody says, J. Cole is this conscious rapper, but he can't make like albums that like Kendrick does when it comes to the conceptions and how I guess
being a conscious rapper doesn't mean being a conscious rapper doesn't mean your album is conceptual.
But I know that. But what I'm trying to say is I feel like that's a very unfair reason to say you don't like the album.
And that too.
Because at the end of the day, it's like for what this album is, which is really just J. Cole rapping, it's fire. I love it. I think My Life is probably either My Life or Pride is the Devil are probably my two favorite tracks. Although I do really love The Climb Back, even though I know that's that was a single he released in the summer.
Like last summer.
Yeah, but that song's still heat, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I know it's early, but you obviously think this album is better than KOD, right?
I do. Well, I enjoy it more than KOD. I'll say that.
Okay. Where do you think? And it's early, so I know we're jumping, but just for the sake of it, where do you think this album would rank in Cole's catalog? Would it be like in the middle of the road, even though it's a good album? Or do you think it would be more on that like upper tier, like in the top 3-ish, whatever, so to speak? Or where do you think it ranked? In your opinion, I know it's early, but
we're ranking it out of his albums or all his projects combined.
Let's keep it simple. Let's go with albums.
This is his 6th, so I'll probably put it like 4.
Okay.
Yeah, I put this at 4.
So what are the albums
I have? I have For Your Eyes Only at 1, and then I have Born Center at 2, and then 2014 Forest Hills Drive is 3rd. And I think this album is probably 4. The Sideline Story is a good album. I just prefer this album a little more because I find like, especially going back and listening to Sideline Story, I feel like Sideline Story can be a little corny sometimes, but that's just because he has songs where he's trying to like basically make sure they get played on the radio, like they're trying to be mainstream songs. So, because Cole's not really, I don't think of Cole as somebody that makes music to get put on the radio, but definitely with the Sideline Story, you could tell he made songs that were meant to be played on the radio, so he could attract attention from the album, especially like Workout. Like, even though I love that song, but he might, I don't think he likes that song really, but it's songs like Workout and then Can't Get Enough. Yeah, like those are songs I like.
Can't Get Enough is fire though. Hold on, Can't Get Enough.
No, I'm not saying they're not fire. I definitely.
But Can't Get Enough don't even sound like it sounds like a radio song, but it doesn't sound like he was trying to make.
Yeah. I understand that, but
he was actually rapping on it. Like, I get what you're saying though.
I like that song. Like, I'm not saying I don't like these songs, because of course I like those songs, but I feel like those are songs that definitely I feel like are more catered to being able to be played on the radio, whereas something like For Your Eyes Only doesn't necessarily have tracks that are really made to be played on the radio. You might hear a Neighbors just because it got popular, or no, you won't even hear Change on the radio. That'll probably be the only song you would hear on the radio from For Your Eyes Only is Change. But I said Change, Neighbors, but that's about it. But that's how I have it. That's how I feel about it. I don't think there's a skip on the album. I enjoy every song. I think it's real nice. I enjoy hearing J. Cole just rap, not care about, what he's talking about necessarily, just purely putting pen to the pad, getting to the booth, and just spitting that fire. So I enjoy it. What you think about it, Malcolm?
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same tip of as a very, very big Cole fan. I think this is an album that I really have wanted from him for a while. I've always appreciated, right, the Cole that does like the storytelling, the introspective stuff, the conscious stuff. Someone who predicates their music based on like the subject matter, opposed to like just more than just being like a person that raps really well, like having substance behind what they're rapping. But even still, with that being said, I still think this album is incredible. Incredible is a strong word. I think it's a really good album. I do think it's a really good album. It's the shortest album, which goes without telling. I feel like he did that because he knew that like he considered this like his quote unquote warm up, no pun intended, to like his like the off season, right? Like his if you want, I'm pretty much calling the off season like his version of the Black Album where Jay-Z did his own like retirement stint or whatever. Like this is kind of the same thing he's trying to emulate. So I see why he wanted this album to be short and sweet or whatever. And I feel like the reason why he did that is because like with him pretty much taking on that mode of like just rapping really well over all the different types of beats, like he just wanted it to be like something tangible, like something small, like a bite-sized thing for us for it to hold us over to his next album. But I really enjoyed the album. I don't think there was any skips. I really appreciated just the different production he rapped over, the different flows that he kind of tampered with, that he played with or whatever. I mean, I already knew he was bar heavy or whatever. He kind of showed it in like his freestyles, even before the LA Lakers freestyle. Like he had freestyles on like Funk Flex and a bunch of other places and stuff like that before too. So he most definitely can rap. I just appreciate like him also like just focusing on like different delivery, because he used to get a lot of flack for having like a monotonous voice or like a disengaged voice, if that makes sense, or whatever. When it came to his music, he was like, people say he's too mellow, and I just appreciated he added more energy to his rapping or whatever. And then when I think of some of my favorite tracks, I think of 95 South is like probably one of the hardest intros I've heard in a long time. Like a long time. Like that beat is crazy.
I gotta send you this video. Hold on. Let me send it to you.
Yeah, but 95 South, 95, ooh. So my favorites end up changing all the time, but 95 South, the interlude, even though it's the interlude is like literally one of my favorite tracks on the album for real, because that beat is so nasty. Like that sample is so crazy. And even though he only rapped for like one verse, that verse was so dope, man. And then just how he was rapping over that interlude was so crazy. Like I know you're not supposed to like use interludes. It's like interludes shouldn't really be your favorite, but like the way he rapped over that, it just that beat, man. Like that beat was the tempo was so crazy. But like the interlude, 95 South, and I'll probably say for like if I could pick if we're only picking three, I'm gonna go with My Life. But like and I think I go with My Life just because 21 Savage had a really dope verse. The sample was dope, and then Murray, his feature on the hook was really, really dope too. And shout out to Murray, who's a up and coming artist, also from Fayetteville, North Carolina, where Cole is from. So it's this pretty huge cosign to have him on your album and stuff like that. So that was a dope thing that Cole did again. And then if I'm doing an honorable mention, I will also say that I really, really enjoyed Amari. The flow pattern he did was so crazy. And then I also enjoyed 100 Mil just because like that, like, I don't know, like it felt like 100 Mil felt like a celebratory song or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And people may take it as like it being braggadocious and him boasting about the money he's making, which in some case, like on the album, like he was obviously being braggadocious or whatever. But I think he was just alluding to the fact that like, you know, I mean, not to make it deep into what it is, but like pretty much like his work or whatever is still there. Like you still see like come regardless of how much money he's making and stuff like that. So, but yeah, no, I really enjoyed the album. And if I was to put it somewhere within his catalog, I'd probably say that I probably agree with you and say that it's 4. I'll probably agree with you and say it's 4. But like the top 3 usually always shifts with me because like sometimes his number 1 is Born Sinner and his number 2 is For Your Eyes Only, but then sometimes For Your Eyes is number one and Born Sinner is number two. And sometimes Forest Hills Drive may sometimes move up into that two spot for me, just because like Born Sinner may have had like the better subject matter, but it only had like better presentation, or it was more polished to a certain extent. So I don't know, like, so the top three always changes for me. But I do think the offseason is only like drawback. Is it being short? But short because it's good that it's short, but like kind of a drawback because, you know, it feels like you're just getting into the thick of things. Like, and then before you know it, it's declining back close. Never mind. I take that back. So I'm thinking on Amari putting Close in there. Close is another favorite of mine. So I would say Close is one of my favorites. But I just feel like you're getting into the thick of things and then the album's over. But yeah, no, I kind of gave a long, drawn out answer to the album, but I really enjoyed it though. So yeah.
I don't think it's too short. I feel like it's a perfect length for what the album is. I feel like it's a perfect length for it.
I think it could have sufficed for like maybe one or two more like, you know what's crazy? I wouldn't be surprised in the next month or so he does a deluxe thing. That's like the trend now, is like to do a deluxe with like 5, 6 songs or whatever. Because I'm pretty sure he has a lot more songs in the stash. So, but yeah. All right, now we're on to the. All right, that's all. So yeah, so it's on you. What do you want to talk about, bud?
It's a couple of things we could talk about. We can just make this miscellaneous. But one thing I want to talk about is what happened with Julio Jones and Shannon Sharpe. How like Shannon Sharpe called Julio Jones while Shannon Sharpe was on Undisputed and had a conversation with him on air. And I'm not sure if Julio knew he was on air when he called him, but I think that was funny. But yeah, what team? So knowing that Julio wants out of Atlanta, what team do you think should trade for him? What team do you feel like he would be a great fit at?
I would love to see him with. I've seen him training with Derrick Henry recently. I would love to see him with. And for sure, I would love to see him in Seattle. But my thing with Seattle is that they need to figure out they need to figure out the defense a little bit, the offensive line, and then Russ is, and that's the thing. I don't like, even though it died down a bit, I still think that Russ is still at odds with the front office when it comes to his standing with them, just because, like, you know, he tried to like reason with them and tell them like, look, I need been hit like out of all the top quarterbacks, like I've been hit the most. You know what I'm saying? So it'll kind of be interesting to see like what Russ does now. But I would love to see him in Seattle or Tennessee. Because Tennessee is already a solid team. Like, they already have, like, A.J. Brown and a few other weapons. And then, obviously, Derrick Henry and offensive line is crazy. Ryan Tannehill is starting to, like, reinvigorate his career. You know, I just think they need a few more pieces on the defense. Then they'll be right there. Because they were in the AFC Championship. I want to say.
You talking about the Titans like 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago. Then this year they got bounced first round against Baltimore, which is that was just a tough draw. Like, we kind of knew Baltimore was going to be that dangerous team that nobody wanted to see first round. So that game could have went either way, and it was still a close game. But yeah, no. I still think that Tennessee will be a playoff team this year. I see them potentially winning the. I see them potentially winning the AFC South this year. The Colts did pick up Stafford. No, they didn't pick up
the
Stafford.
Rams did. The Colts got Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz. I'm sorry about that. They did pick up Carson Wentz, which I think was a solid pickup, just because I feel like Carson Wentz isn't a bad quarterback. If anything, this past year was like his first really bad year. The other years he's played good, but he just had injuries, or he just, you know what I'm saying, he just didn't have the rhythm. And now I feel like he has offensive line, so there's that. And then 2, he has the defense, which is pretty much the same system he had with the Eagles when they went to the Super Bowl, but he got hurt that year too. But yeah, so
it's
he
the
pretty
exact
much
same
has
system.
like kind of right, same type of team he needed to win a few years ago. So it'll be interesting what the Colts do. But I still think the Titans be having like I still see the Titans from the AFC South, but I wouldn't be surprised if like in their division battles they end up splitting games, like the Colts win one and then the Titans win one. But yeah, no, I know I drew that out a bit, but yeah, no, I would love to see Julio either with the Titans or with Seattle.
I'm trying to see Julio go to the Bucks, man.
That's not funny. Don't
I'm
do
just
that.
kidding. I'm just kidding.
I'll give
you 3 teams. I'll give you 3 series teams I would like to see him on. I would like to see Julio on the Colts because I feel like T.Y. Hilton, I mean, he's still a great receiver, but his production's starting to dip a little bit. And, you know, he could be used more as a deep threat, which is what he really is, whereas Julio could take some pressure off of him. And so I feel like introducing Julio to that receiving core would be very interesting because the Colts already have a pretty good receiving core. And then you add Julio to that it just would put it through the roof. I'd like to see him actually go to the Rams. I think that would be interesting. You know, give Matthew Stafford another elite weapon, somebody that's probably as close to Calvin Johnson as we're ever going to see in Julio Jones because they're very similar in terms of like body type. And also like how they play, they're very similar. So I feel like that could be a great combination. And then, you know, they don't really have a true dominant receiver. Cooper Kupp is nice and all, but he's not like a Julio Jones. He's not a dominant receiver.
I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
Randy Moss or Calvin Johnson?
I'm going Calvin Johnson. You knew I was going to say this. But my reason is because I feel like people don't talk about this with Randy. Randy only has like 3 routes in his route tree, maybe. A slant. I said a slant. He not running a slant. A post, a fade, and maybe a comeback, and then a screen. I feel like Calvin has a array of routes that he can run, and also even though Randy might be faster, it's not by a whole lot. And then Calvin Johnson has a higher vert and a wider like catch radius. Like you could throw the ball farther away from Calvin and he can still get it compared to Randy. I guess what I'm trying to say is like Calvin Johnson, like the area that he can catch the ball within like the ball coming to him is greater than what Randy could.
So you feel like, and you also feel like Calvin Johnson is a little bit more multifaceted.
Yeah, exactly.
More versatile.
But the last team I would like to see Julio go to is the Ravens, actually. I'm going to add one more team. I would like to see him go to the Ravens, though, just because, you know, give Lamar some help, because I feel like they definitely need a receiver. They need another receiver there. Like, Hollywood is good, but Hollywood's really more of a deep threat, whereas Julio can be that, you know, run whatever route he needs. You need him to run, and he's going to be open all the time.
Yeah, and then the thing is like, you know, he still has Andrews as a rising tight end or whatever. Andrews is actually a really, really
he's a really solid piece. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, like their running game is still going to be solid because that rookie Dobbins he's nice, man. Yeah. No, I honestly did not. But here's the thing: the reason why I didn't think of the Ravens is because the way it's looking, like when. I forgot who said it, but like it happened recently, like a couple months ago, when they were just like Lamar said something about needing receivers, and like front management said, "We got this. Don't worry about whatever." It didn't seem like they were going to like go for a receiver in free agency. They were probably more or less going to go for a receiver in the draft. So it'll be interesting to see if they actually like try to, you know, go for a receiver. For the sake of keeping Lamar, because I feel like, and that's the thing, like I feel like when it comes to like players like Lamar, like he's only prioritized when they're winning. Like, if they get a season when if they get a season, if like let's say they go like, well, you can't go 9-7 no more because they added another freaking season or whatever. Like if they go like 9-8 or whatever and don't make the playoffs, I feel like they'll be less. I feel like it'd be less likely that they'll actually like try to I don't know. I'm not wishing anything bad because I want to see Lamar succeed. But how it usually goes for Lamar type of quarterbacks is that like if they're playing good, they're going to build the team around him. But as soon as like he has one slip up, they don't really like listen to like what he is asking for and what he thinks will work for him. You know what I'm saying? Like it happens for like these type of quarterbacks, the dual threat quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want Lamar to change his play style because I feel like what he's doing is like showing them like a dual threat. Because initially, I was one of those people that said like, if you're not throwing in the pocket, you're not going to win the game. But Lamar has proven that like dual threat quarterbacks can work if you know what I'm saying, you have the right pieces too. Because usually what happens is you have a dual threat quarterback, but the front office don't think that like they need receivers because he's a dual threat quarterback. That's not the case. Right, his best year was when he was with the Eagles when he became a starting quarterback with the Eagles. But he had Deshaun Jackson, Jeremy Maclin, Brent Selleck, and stuff like that. And he had. The only thing is, like, they didn't have a defense. Now it's the case with Lamar, where like they have a defense, they have a running game, but they don't have a consistent receiver. If you give him a consistent receiver with, you know what I'm saying, like the dual nature that he has, and people really downplay his IQ as a quarterback because he knows when to run, he knows when to he knows how to play, he knows how to be a quarterback.
Bro, I'm telling you,
I feel like people really downplay that.
Yeah, if you give Lamar Jackson Julio, that offense is going to be so much more explosive. I don't think people understand that. Like, I feel like Lamar is definitely getting better as a pocket passer, but I remember a couple of years ago when they were in the playoffs against the Titans and they lost that game. I feel like you can win the ball. I hate when I do this. I feel like you can win the game with Lamar throwing, but you can't win. Like, I don't think you're going to win a game with Lamar Jackson throwing the ball like upwards of 50 times like he did against the Titans. Like, that's not his play style, and I understand that he likes throwing touchdown passes. I'm not taking anything away from him, but that's just not how the Ravens' offense was structured either, or is structured for Lamar Jackson to throw the ball 50 times, because I feel like that's not smart. I feel like that's the big reason why they lost that game. Now, granted, I understand when you're behind, you're going to throw the ball more, but the Ravens' running offense is just so potent. It's like, how can you go away from that? So I feel like, but yeah, if you add Julio to the Ravens, I feel like that's going to be dangerous. And then, if I may cheat a little bit, I got one more team, and that would also be the 49ers. Ooh. Ooh, because think about it, Trey Lance would have Dabo, he would have Julio, and then you would have George Kittle. Like, ooh-wee. But yeah, of all those teams, I definitely would like to really see him on either the Colts or the Ravens. I feel like those are probably the best situations for him. In the Bucks, Tom Brady for 8.
Yeah.
Go Bucks, go!
I feel like it's going to be. I feel like it's going to be Chiefs and rematch. I do think the Bears going to today.
You said you think it's going to be a rematch?
Okay. So I got. I think the Bears. I think the Bears go over 500, right? But I also think that they're going to make it. They're going to be like. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears are the third seed, maybe even. I'll go with. I'll say they'll probably be the third or fourth seed. I think the way that the Packers are looking and like the whole Aaron Rodgers debacle.
Oh, he's gone.
He's gone. I'm about to say, like, the whole Rodgers debacle, that the Vikings, I've never been a real believer in Kirk Cousins. Mm-hmm. Detroit building to do. I don't think it's ironic because I'll never disrespect this. But Detroit still has some building to do, and like the way I see it, we went 8-8 with the most for offense like in a while, like for the Bears. And then people, I know people are watching the damn too because I feel like there's more that we could have got. But my thing is like Andy Dalton can throw the ball. Like, so that's already an upgrade. Like, Andy Dalton the ball down the field. So, and not to mention that we picked up some offensive linemen, help. We got Montgomery a little bit more comfortability and more in sync with like more carries. Then we get Tariq Cohen back. Then we signed A-Rob for another we got Mooney coming back. We got other people coming back. The only wild part to me is how they're going to work around like how what we're going to do with Fields, because like they literally told I think Fields should start.
I was about to say that was going to be the question I was going to ask you. I was going to say, what week do you feel like Justin Fields is going to start?
I feel like Fields should, because he, if you notice, rookie quarterbacks as of late have always performed good their first year. Like what is going to translate over into the NFL, or like nobody has film over them in the NFL, if that makes sense, or whatever. Like you look at RG, you look at Russell Wilson, you look at another rookie quarterback. Even I'm forgetting his name right now, but even the rookie quarterback with the Chargers or whatever.
Justin Herbert.
Guys, like they come in, they have like they come in and have an immense impact on the game because they have yet to understand like their tendencies, how they play the game, and all types of stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, I know he's gonna make mistakes. He's a rookie quarterback, so obviously, and it's not like a Burrow situation where he's coming into a team that was sinking, bro, to a team that already had. You know what I'm saying? I think that he'll perform well. I'm not gonna jump to the Super Bowl, not because I don't have faith, because I'm being realistic. Like it's very rare that like a rookie quarterback takes the Super Bowl. I don't know. Actually, now that I think about it, a rookie quarterback has never taken a team to a Super Bowl. So there's that. But the reason why I think that Fields should start is because Andy Dalton is like the perfect backup quarterback. Like he's like Nick Foles 2.0. Literally.
Oh, don't do that.
Like he's like no, in terms of like
I know what you're trying to say. I don't think Andy Dalton would be able to take a team to the Super Bowl like
not
Nick Foles did.
To the Super Bowl, but like to keep the team afloat.
Yeah,
let me put it like that.
Yeah. Depending on what's around him, because I'm not gonna lie.
Because
I don't think he would have been able.
He did underperform in some of those Cincinnati playoff games. So
I wasn't going to talk about that. I was mainly referring to his time in Dallas and how he, kind of.
But that team was thinking.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. But the thing is, with Dak Prescott, that offense was lethal, and like they have the pieces for that offense to always be lethal. And it seems like as soon as they lost Dak, it's like it went down. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, their defense is terrible, so they definitely need to address the defense. But the Cowboys' offense is so lethal. Like, that's a lethal-ass offense. Especially when Dak was at the helm. Ooh.
Yeah, I feel it. But sometimes it's very hard to get a real rhythm if, like, your defense can't stop nobody. So and then when your defense can't stop nobody and the other team is scoring hella, it makes you feel like you have to do extra stuff to stay in the game, if that makes sense. Like sometimes, like it's hard to get in the rhythm. Yeah, right. It's hard to get in the rhythm when like your team literally can't stop nobody. But I get what you're saying. It didn't. People were upset about the situation because of how bad, or not bad, but like he didn't perform that well in the games that they saw him in Dallas. But mind you, they still almost made the playoffs. But I already know like their record was terrible, and the NFC East is terrible. But I don't know. I still feel like Andy Dalton is still a solid backup quarterback.
Yeah, he's definitely a solid backup.
If he starts, that's fine, I guess. I just would want Fields riding the bench too long.
Ideally, I would like to see Justin Fields start week 1, but I think he'll probably start at like I could see them putting him in at like week 4 or week 5, handing him the keys. But the trend that I'm seeing now with quarterbacks is a lot of the times the people like the Mac Joneses were the ones that were gonna get drafted, to where you try to draft the most who you feel like is the most pro ready quarterback at draft day. But now, what I'm starting to see now is more you're going after you're starting to try to draft guys who you feel like have this amazing like talent. They're amazingly physically gifted, like the Patrick Mahomes or the Deshaun Watsons or the Justin Herberts or the Justin Fields. Like those are all guys who are athletically like very gifted. Like they all have super strong arms. Josh Allen's another one like that. But they weren't, they were considered projects. Like, which is why I can't necessarily blame the Bears for trying to take not taking Patrick Mahomes, because everybody agreed that if you were going to take Patrick Mahomes, there was a lot of risk in that because he was a project. Now, I don't think Patrick Mahomes would be the same quarterback if he went anywhere else besides the Chiefs. I feel like the Chiefs was the best situation for him because you have somebody like Andy Reid, and I feel like Andy Reid can get the most out of Patrick Mahomes, but also Patrick Mahomes needed to sit for a year and just kind of sit back and learn. And like if the Bears had drafted him, I don't think he would have sat. But I feel like he wouldn't be the same quarterback he is in KC. But I'm definitely starting to see this trend towards we're going to draft the quarterbacks who are like super physically gifted and see if we can take our system and sort of mold them into these great quarterbacks. Because I remember people talking about Justin Herbert, and I was one of them. I didn't think Justin Herbert was going to be a good quarterback in the league. I thought he was going to be a bust. And it's because if you looked at his film, there were a lot of throws where like instead of trying to, throw a touch pass, he was always, because he has such a strong arm, he's always trying to launch things. A lot of times his timing was off, especially on routes like out routes. And, he was real inconsistent in his mechanics sometimes. And so I didn't think he was necessarily going to be a good pro quarterback. But, that time, he put in the time in the offseason working, throughout the year, they worked on his mechanics. They helped fix his mechanics. They helped him with the reading the defense. And so he was able to really be something special as a rookie quarterback. So that's something I'm starting to notice. But I feel like the Rams could win the Super Bowl this year. Like they have the defense too, and they've had the defense to win the Super Bowl for a while. It's just that I feel like they've always been held back by Jared Goff at the quarterback position. Even that year when he was going crazy and they were dropping a whole bunch of points a game, in that Super Bowl, I feel they got exposed, and I feel like that's when we started kind of seeing, Sean McVay relies heavily on play action for Jared Goff because Jared Goff isn't necessarily the best at processing and reading defenses, both pre and post snap, and he's not necessarily the best decision maker. So I feel like putting Matthew Stafford there, which I feel like Matthew Stafford is highly underrated. I don't think people understand just how good he really is, and he's been throughout the years in Detroit. But I feel like putting Matthew Stafford on that team, I feel like they could win the Super Bowl. Oh, yeah.
Well, all right, man. It's been nice. I love doing this stuff because, I love chopping it up about sports, music, and all this type of stuff because everybody else is trying to chop it up with, Malcolm, you be too passionate about it. You be talking too much. And finally, I found somebody that talks just as much as I do. But yeah, man. You want to take us out? Well, we don't have no intro music or outro music.
Yeah, because you're on the phone. Yeah, thanks to y'all for joining us today. This is the first of what will first feel like weird episodes for us, just because we're not in person, so we can't necessarily play music like we want to, because then you won't really be able to hear it. But we hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you came through and listened. And before we go, I just want to say, Malcolm, you should have had more fun at graduation, because I don't know if you heard me or Zay, but me and Zay were acting a fool all day. I had everybody laughing around me during the whole ceremony. It was funny. I was having the time of my life. But, thank y'all for listening. Hope you have a good day, a good afternoon, a good morning. Why'd I start like that? I hope you have a good morning, afternoon, evening, day, night, whenever you listen to this. I hope you had a good day or a good night, and I hope you continue to come back and listen to us. So, peace.